I hope you're ready. Okay. So in this particular case, I have provided you a Stacklets link. I think you have already opened it. Great. So the interview is planning to cover some important concepts regarding component communication. I hope you are aware of component communication, right? Component communication basically defines that how a parent or a child component, if I have one or two components, how they are related to each other, how the property will flow from one child component to parent and vice versa. So all those things is considered under as a component communication, how they will be transferring the data between one or two components. Okay, great. So the Stacklets link is having two components, primarily the parent component and the child component, apart from the app component. So these are like basic. In the child component, it is just saying that it is child works, and in parent component also it is saying parent works. Okay, that's it. So now my requirement is I have to in the parent I have to incorporate this child component. How can you achieve that? Okay. So you want this child, whatever is available in the child, to be available in the parent, right? Yeah, correct. So to achieve that, what we will use is, like, in every component we have to define a selector. So in this case, for the child component, the selector is my child. So in the parent component, what we need to do is, like, as an HTML element, you have to provide it as my child. So we will be providing this as my child. Okay. So as soon as I provide this my child, so this particular, the content available in the child will be available to the parent. So for viewing that, so in the router actually we have mentioned it as parent. So we have to get, so right now it is in the home page. So now we have to define the parent. So as soon as we hit the parent, so the child component also would be available over here. So yeah, so you can see here, right? So child works. Okay, that's great. Okay, yeah, this is what I was expecting. Okay, now say for example, I have to pass one data from parent to child. How can I achieve that? Say for example, in child component, you are having a title field. Okay, so this child works, so this is a title. Okay, so this title should be appearing as child. How can you achieve that? Okay, so for this title to appear as child, the data needs to be passed from parent. So how we can achieve is that in the child component TypeScript file, I will define a variable, so title as a string. Okay, so title as a string, and this particular variable I will be decorating. So I will be decorating it with at input decorator. So once I decorate this particular, so this needs to be imported from Angular core. So at input decorator, and I am putting it as title. It doesn't appear over here. So now in the parent component, what we need to do is that we have to pass an input value. So we have to pass value from parent component to child component. So here we will provide a child title. Okay, so this is a string and this value is a child. Okay, so once I have this particular child, then in the parent component, so it has to match that input property. So we will be doing a property binding. So this is basically a property binding. So where I will mention it as mention it as title, and so here we will be defining whatever we are providing in the child title. Okay, so that we will be providing over here. As soon as we provide over here, right, so you can see, so it should be appearing in the similar way as it is earlier where we were having, right. So as soon as the parent gets loaded, in the child component, it will be passing this particular input value to the parent. So you can see here child works. So if I make a change C to caps, so that should be appearing in the child. So this is the way we can actually pass data from the parent to the child using an input decorator. So So this input decorator is provided from Angular core. Yeah, so that's great. Yeah, this is what I was expecting. Now, say for example, based on an event that is available in the child component, we have to do some actions in the parent. So how can you achieve that? Okay. So for that, actually, so say for example, if I have a button, so I have a button here. In the button, submit data, submit. So during submit, so in the click event, I will be writing a method, submit data. So currently this method is not available. Okay, so during the submit data, so what I will do is I will be passing the data from the child to parent. So currently okay, so yeah, so I am planning to create I would be creating a submit data method in the child component. So submit data, and so I created the method, and in this method what I need to do is I need to inform the parent that the submit button is clicked. So for that we have an output property. Okay, so that is provided by Angular core, and here I will be creating is submit button clicked. So it is an event emitter. It should be basically an event emitter. So Angular core provides an event emitter. So here you can say what is the type that needs to be emitted. Okay. So I have created an boolean variable isSubmit. So in this when the user is clicking on submit button, so isSubmit dot I will be emitting an event saying that yes, this is submitted. Okay. So by this way the parent would be able to know that yeah, so if you want the initial value you can put it as false. So now it has emitted a true value. So by this true value it means that in the child component the user has clicked on the submit button. Now in the parent component, so how you have to take it is, so instead of property it would be an event binding. So it is the variable has to match with what we have provided in the output, and based on this particular event so you can say that form submitted or something like that, button submitted, and here you will be getting an dollar event. So that will actually get the value that has been passed from child. So this form submitted method I had to write over here. Okay, so in the parent component, if I am writing form submitted, and I have got an event from the child component, right? So form submitted, you can put it like right now you know it is a boolean variable, so you can put it as a boolean instead of any, and in the console.log you can actually console the changes. Submit button, value of submit button clicked. So if I put event, so it has to return true. So based on this action you can actually get the value. Okay, so right now if I put a check that, so I will be going to the parent. So right now there is nothing in the console. I have cleared the console. Okay, so now I am going into the parent, and inside the parent what I will do is okay, I will click on the submit button. So you can see here value of submit button clicked is true. So this true has been passed from the child component. So like this actually we will be based on an event, if the user wants to do some action on the parent, like for this particular example, if there is a form and the user has clicked on submit, so the parent will be notified of this, and based on that particular action we can actually proceed within the parent. So I will be doing it this way. Okay, yeah, that looks great. So input and output properties has been cleared. Okay, so now if you want to do other types of communication, can you please explain like what are the other ways we can actually communicate? Yeah, so these are the basic two ways where we can communicate between parent and child. Apart from that, we can use observables. We can use observables. We can also use view child properties, template reference variables, and like that also we can communicate between child and parent. Okay, so I am planning to wrap this particular interview for today. Okay, so there are many advanced concepts of component communication, so that we'll plan to cover it later. So be prepared for that. All the best. Thanks for your time. Thanks a lot.